You begin your quiet walk beneath a sky brushed with fading sunlight. The air hums with evening life, crickets, soft winds, the rhythm of the earth itself. In the hush, the kind rabbit pauses, listening to the meadow's hidden heartbeats. This is where every story of life begins, in stillness. The evening opens like a slow breath. You walk through the meadow as the last strands of golden light stretch across the sky, turning everything soft, the grass, the air, even your thoughts. Each step is gentle, as though the ground itself welcomes you with a quiet sigh. The kind rabbit hops beside you, ears tall and still. Its fur catches the sunset like threads of light. For a while, there are no words, no plans, only the soft rhythm of the earth beneath your feet. The world is settling, the air thick with the scent of wildflowers and damp soil. Somewhere, a cricket begins its song, one note, then another, and the sound ripples outward like circles in water. You notice how everything around you seems to breathe. The meadow rises and falls with life. A gentle wind moves through tall grass, bending it in waves. The trees along the far edge sway in unison. Even the clouds drift slower now, almost still, as if resting after their long day's journey. You breathe too, and realize your lungs mirror this pattern, this pulse of the living world. Listen, the rabbit seems to say without words, and you do. The hum beneath the surface is faint but steady, a vibration carried through root and stone. It is the sound of countless small lives, insects burrowing, worms turning soil, roots reaching deeper for water. This, the rabbit tells you, is the hidden music of the meadow, the quiet heartbeat of earth. You kneel and press your hand to the ground. It's cool, damp, alive. Beneath your palm, something shifts. Not movement you can see, but one you can feel. The warmth of your body meets the deep, ancient rhythm of the soil. In this moment, science feels like magic, and magic feels like something beautifully real. When you breathe again, the air fills with the scent of clover and evening dew. Your body relaxes as if each inhale draws you closer to the center of something vast and kind. You watch the rabbit pause beside a wildflower. Its nose twitches, curious. The flower, a tiny purple bloom, turns ever so slightly toward the dimming light. It moves slowly, gracefully, almost like it's sighing. That's phototropism, you recall, the way plants follow light even when the day ends. It's a dance as old as time, a reminder that even in fading brightness, there's still a yearning to reach, to grow. The rabbit looks at you, and you realize that in its quiet gaze there is understanding, not in words, but in knowing. Life moves toward light always. Even when the light seems to leave, it lingers somewhere inside. The air grows cooler. A low hum begins to fill the space between crickets and leaves, the resonance of countless wings preparing for night. Fireflies begin to rise, their small lanterns blinking softly, scattered like tiny stars among the grasses. Their glow, you remember, comes from a process called bioluminescence, a chemical reaction that turns energy into light. Yet here, in the meadow, it doesn't feel like chemistry. It feels like breath made visible. Each flash is a heartbeat, a pulse of silent communication. Some fireflies signal to attract a mate. Others flash to warn or greet. And still, to you, it feels like they're whispering to the night itself. We are here, and we shine. The rabbit sits beside you, The two of you watch this quiet constellation unfold at ground level. Above, the sky begins to darken, from gold to violet to indigo. Stars wake one by one. The evening expands like an open book, each point of light a story still untold. You think of the air around you, of the invisible layers that make all this life possible. Oxygen from the plants you walked past. Carbon dioxide exhaled by every breath you take. The great exchange, silent and constant, your lungs trading with the leaves, giving and receiving without effort. You are part of this quiet system, a loop that has no beginning or end. The rabbit tilts its head upward, and you follow its gaze. A small bird crosses the last stripe of twilight, gliding with almost no sound. You wonder how it knows where to go, how it feels the invisible currents that shape its path. Inside its feathers, hollow bones catch air like sails. Inside its chest, a compass built of instinct and magnetism. Somewhere in the Earth's field, iron particles whisper direction to its cells. You realize then, even flight listens to the planet's quiet pull. Everything listens. The rabbit takes a slow breath, and somehow you feel your own chest rise in rhythm. Around you, the meadow begins to shimmer with the faint silver of moonlight. The world seems both awake and asleep, a balance that makes you feel safe, grounded, and weightless all at once. You sit on a patch of moss, soft as a sigh. Tiny spores lift from the green cushion with each shift of your breath. They drift upward like dust in sunlight, seeking new homes where damp and dark will cradle them. Even in stillness, there is motion, invisible, steady, full of purpose. You think of how every living thing is built from the same elements: carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. The stars above, the soil below, your body, the rabbit's fur, all sharing the same ancient matter, endlessly recycled. It comforts you, this reminder that nothing truly ends. It only changes shape. The atoms that form your heartbeat may once have belonged to a leaf, a river, or a star. The rabbit lowers itself beside you. You can feel the warmth of its body through the cool grass. Its breathing is slow, measured, soft, a metronome of peace. You match it, letting your breaths fall into the same gentle pattern. The air flows through you, calm and complete. There is a kind of science in this too, the chemistry of calm. As you breathe deeply, your body releases tension, your heartbeat slows, your muscles soften. Inside your mind, the waves of thought stretch and settle, moving from quick bursts into long, rolling tides. The meadow becomes a reflection of your inner world. Or maybe it's the other way around. A breeze stirs. You hear it pass through the grass like a whisper between friends. The sound is low, continuous, steady, almost like the ocean in miniature. The rabbit's ears twitch following it. The sound carries seeds, scents, and stories. It is the language of the open world, one you don't have to translate, only feel. You look up again. The first full star appears, steady and bright, like a promise in the dark. Around it, the rest of the sky blooms with faint constellations. Some of the light you see left its star before the first meadow ever grew, before the first rabbit ever dug its burrow. It has traveled across centuries to meet your eyes tonight. You close your eyes, and for a moment you feel the distance between starlight and soil disappear. You are both small and infinite. You belong to everything that breathes. The rabbit shifts, nudging your hand with its nose, a gentle reminder to stay present. Beneath you, the ground hums again, deep and slow. It's the rhythm of microbes turning fallen leaves into new soil, of roots weaving unseen pathways through darkness, of life creating itself in endless loops. The planet speaks in this quiet frequency, too low to hear, but not too low to feel. The rabbit's gaze moves toward a patch of tall grass at the meadow's edge, where the shadows deepen and roots begin their descent. You sense an invitation there, a mystery beneath the surface. You take one last breath of meadow air, cool, fragrant, alive. The wind sighs. The crickets fall into rhythm. The rabbit hops forward once, ears flicking toward the earth. And you wonder, softly, sleepily, what secrets wait beneath the roots. The kind rabbit discovers a secret tunnel winding through soft soil. Here, under the roots, an unseen universe thrives. Roots exchanging whispers of water, fungi sharing messages of life. You learn how the underground world breathes, feeds, and communicates. You follow the kind rabbit to the edge of the meadow, where shadows thicken and the earth smells sweet and deep. The last traces of moonlight reach between the blades of grass, falling in thin silver lines across the ground. The rabbit pauses, nose twitching, paws resting on a small opening hidden by ferns. A tunnel. At first it seems ordinary, a dark hole in the soil. But as you kneel closer, you feel warmth rising from it, a faint breath from the underground. The rabbit steps forward, unafraid. You follow, ducking beneath low roots that arch like wooden ribs above your head. The air changes, cooler, damp, filled with the scent of life in motion. The surface world fades behind you. The sound of wind softens into a hush, replaced by the steady drip of water somewhere ahead. You realize you're entering another realm, a hidden network that mirrors the meadow above, just unseen. The rabbit's fur glows faintly in the dimness, reflecting a hint of moonlight still caught on its back. As your eyes adjust, you begin to notice movement all around. The shimmer of fine threads tracing through soil like veins of silver. Roots, thin and delicate, stretch outward in every direction. You touch one gently. It feels alive, pulsing faintly, as if exchanging something with the world around it. You think of the word root, how it means both beginning and anchor. Here, beneath the surface, those meanings intertwine. Every blade of grass, every flower and tree above is bound to this place, drinking from it, speaking through it. The underground world is not silent at all. It hums with slow conversation. The rabbit stops beside a thick root, its surface rough like old bark. It rests a paw on it, as though greeting an old friend. In the stillness, you listen more closely. The soil carries vibrations, small, rhythmic, almost like whispers. Scientists once thought roots were simple, taking water, giving structure. But now you know they do much more. They send signals, messages in tiny electrical pulses and chemical scents, sharing warnings, water, even nutrients with their neighbors. A tree may send sugar to another that struggles in shade. A patch of grass may signal when insects chew its leaves. Beneath it all, a network forms, vast and ancient, a living web of cooperation. You close your eyes and imagine it. Miles of roots intertwining like threads in a tapestry. Through those threads runs a secret courier, a filament even finer than the root itself, the fungus known as mycorrhiza. The kind rabbit moves closer to a cluster of these fine, white strands glimmering like moon dust. You kneel, fascinated. These fungal threads connect one plant to another, weaving an underground communication system so vast it has been called the Wood Wide Web. You smile at the thought. Nature's own internet, made not of wires, but of life itself. Each thread carries messages written not in words but in molecules. Sugars travel one way, minerals another. A tree struck by drought can whisper for help, and another tree, perhaps far away, might respond by sharing water through its roots. This is not magic, though it feels like it. It is the quiet science of symbiosis, of living together in gentle exchange. You think of how the same principle lives in you, your cells exchanging oxygen, your neurons sending electric signals across tiny gaps. Your body, too, is a network of conversation, trillions of voices working together without ever speaking aloud. The tunnel narrows, then widens again into a small chamber filled with dim, bluish light. Tiny glowing fungi line the walls like scattered stars. The rabbit sits still, eyes half closed, listening. You realize that life here is not separate from death. Fallen leaves, decayed roots, and old wood dissolve into the soil, feeding the next generation. The process of decomposition is not an ending, but a transformation. The chemistry of renewal. Bacteria break down what once was living, and from that breakdown, new life begins. Energy is never lost. It only changes shape. You reach out and crumble a bit of soil between your fingers. It's soft, almost warm. You think of all the life inside, billions of microorganisms in just one handful. Tiny fungi, bacteria, protozoa, an invisible community busy with purpose. Together, they create the world's richest ecosystem, one most humans never see. You feel small, but not insignificant. You feel part of something vast and alive. The rabbit begins to dig gently beside a tangle of roots. Each movement is careful, rhythmic, unhurried. It uncovers small tunnels, the homes of beetles, ants, and earthworms. You peer in and catch sight of the worms wriggling through the soil, swallowing and reshaping it. Their movement brings oxygen deep into the ground, keeping it loose and breathable. Without them, plants would struggle to grow. The rabbit seems to nod, as if to say, even the smallest creature carries the weight of the world. A droplet of water slides down from the roof of the tunnel, landing on the rabbit's fur. You watch how it soaks in, how the tiny grains of soil cling to it before releasing. Water, the great traveler, moves through everything: air, plant, stone, body. It's the universal connector, the thread that stitches all life together. Down here, it flows not in rivers, but in microscopic streams, moving from root tip to root tip, guided by pressure, gravity, and need. You wonder if the water remembers where it has been, what it has touched. Perhaps the drop that touched the rabbit once floated in a cloud, or ran down a mountainside, or drifted inside a leaf. Each journey ends only to begin again. The rabbit leads you deeper still. The air grows warmer, richer with the scent of mineral and life. The ground beneath your hands vibrates faintly, not from machines or thunder, but from the slow pulse of Earth itself. Studies have shown that roots respond to sound, to low frequencies that mimic the rumble of water or the tread of footsteps. You imagine roots listening to the world above, adjusting their growth toward the promise of nourishment. Everything listens. Even the soil hears. You rest beside the rabbit, feeling the weight of the earth around you. It doesn't press, it holds. The soil is not darkness but cradle, filled with quiet generosity. Each particle touches another, sharing moisture, warmth, and memory. You think of how connected everything truly is. The food you eat comes from these roots. The air you breathe is born from their leaves. The shelter above your head depends on the strength of their trunks, which rise because of what lies here, unseen, patient, and persistent. The rabbit turns to you, its eyes reflecting faint light. There's calm wisdom there, a reminder that nature doesn't rush. It grows, decays, renews, in endless rhythm. You breathe in the damp air, heavy with the perfume of growth. And for a moment, you can almost feel the movement of sap within distant stems, the shimmer of communication from one tree to another, the steady beat of biochemical signals flowing through the ground. You close your eyes. The hum deepens. The soil speaks, not in sound but in feeling, the language of balance, the truth of interconnection. The rabbit's breathing slows beside you, steady and grounding. When you open your eyes again, you notice a faint glow ahead, a golden shimmer spilling from another tunnel further down. The rabbit lifts its head, ears catching the subtle rhythm of air moving through the roots above. You sense the promise of light, of something reaching upward. The rabbit hops toward it, pausing to glance back, as if inviting you onward. You brush the soil from your hands, feeling the warmth it leaves on your skin. The underground hum continues, deep, eternal, kind. You take one last look around this living labyrinth, this breathing network that holds the world together. As you step forward, following the rabbit toward the glow, the air changes, lighter now, carrying the faint scent of leaves and wind. Somewhere above, a garden breathes in sleep. And soon you'll learn the secret of its language. As moonlight touches the garden, the leaves begin their nightly dance of chemistry and calm. You follow the rabbit's gaze upward, learning how plants breathe, sleep, and dream, turning sunlight into sugar and silence into strength. You rise gently from the tunnel, following the kind rabbit through a curtain of ferns. The air feels lighter now, cool and moist, brushed with the scent of night-blooming jasmine. Above you, the meadow opens again, bathed in the soft blue of moonlight. Each leaf gleams as though polished by silver hands. The rabbit pauses beside a tall stem of clover and looks upward. Its ears tilt toward the whispering canopy. You listen too, and though the night seems still, the leaves are speaking, not with words, not even with sound, but through rhythm, slow, chemical, constant. If you could see inside a leaf, you would find a world glowing with quiet purpose. The surface, smooth and green, hides chambers where sunlight once danced, where energy turned into life. You imagine tiny factories within, still humming from the day's work. Sunlight captured, water drawn upward, air transformed into nourishment. Photosynthesis, the great alchemy of the living world. You breathe out, and the leaf breathes in. Your exhale of carbon dioxide becomes its inhale. Its gift of oxygen becomes your next breath. Together, you and the leaf exchange invisible kindness. The rabbit noses gently at a fallen leaf, turning it over in the dew. Even now, as it rests on the soil, its cells hum softly, breaking down, returning their borrowed elements to the earth. Nothing is wasted here. Every leaf is both story and cycle, dream and renewal. You step closer to a small tree, its branches trembling lightly. The moon's glow catches the tiny openings on each leaf, pores called stomata. During the day, these pores open wide to gather carbon dioxide from the air, feeding the process of photosynthesis. But now, under the cool moon, many are closing, resting. Plants, too, have a kind of sleep, not with eyes or dreams, but in rhythm with the light. When night falls, their metabolism slows, conserving the energy they've made. Some leaves fold inward like hands at prayer, others droop softly toward the ground. This is called nyctinasty, the movement of plants responding to the day's end. You watch the clover's leaves slowly tilt, closing around the stem like a child pulling up a blanket. The rabbit leans against a patch of moss, eyes half shut. The entire garden exhales. You feel the air shift, cooler now, layered with moisture. The trees above are releasing water vapor through tiny pores, a process called transpiration. It rises invisibly, joining the breath of the earth itself. You realize how this quiet exchange, water rising, condensing, falling again, connects the soil beneath your feet to the clouds drifting above. Everything cycles. Everything speaks. A small breeze moves through the garden, stirring the leaves. The sound is soft, like pages turning. You think of how each leaf, no matter how small, plays a part in holding the world's balance. Every forest, every meadow, every blade of grass pulls carbon from the air, turning it into substance, food, structure, strength. Without leaves, the air itself would grow heavy with unspent breath. The rabbit twitches its nose and hops closer to a vine climbing the side of a nearby tree. You trace its spiral upward with your eyes. The vine follows the light, wrapping gently, not in struggle but in partnership. It grows where the sun calls it, its tendrils sensing direction through tiny changes in brightness. Plants can see in their own way, not through eyes, but through cells that sense wavelengths of light. You find that thought strangely beautiful, that even without vision, a leaf can find the sun. A drop of dew slides down from the tip of one leaf, catching a reflection of the moon. It glows for an instant before falling onto the rabbit's fur. The rabbit shakes, sending tiny droplets flying into the air. For a moment, it looks like the night sky itself has come to rest in the garden. You kneel, brushing your hand against the leaf's surface. It feels slightly rough, a forest of microscopic hairs designed to protect it from wind, insects, and heat. Every texture, every shade of green has purpose. The lighter the leaf, the faster it grows. The darker, the more sunlight it can hold. You realize there is intelligence here, not of thought, but of adaptation. Plants do not think, yet they know how to live. The rabbit lowers itself beside a patch of ferns. You sit beside it, both silent. The air hums faintly, a blend of chemistry and song. Somewhere in the distance, an owl calls once, and the sound lingers in the spaces between leaves. You think of how sound itself travels through air made by plants, through oxygen born from light. The song of the owl, your breath, the sigh of the wind, all carried on the same invisible medium. The garden listens and replies in silence. The rabbit closes its eyes, head resting on its paws. The leaves above respond in kind, their edges trembling softly as if in agreement. You realize how every plant, though rooted in one place, still moves in time, following the sun, folding at night, opening to rain. Life, it seems, is never still. Even in sleep it sways. You watch the subtle choreography of moonlit motion, a slow waltz of stems, petals, and light. Each movement is powered by gentle changes in pressure within the plant's cells. When a leaf folds or unfurls, tiny vacuoles inside its tissues fill or release water, shifting balance like tides in miniature. There's comfort in knowing that the same water that moves inside a leaf also flows within you. Your heartbeat echoes in their sap. Your breath mirrors their rhythm. You are made of the same quiet persistence. A soft wind passes again, bending the grasses toward one direction, the way the rabbit is looking. The air carries the faint fragrance of chlorophyll and soil. You feel the movement of the atmosphere itself, global and intimate at once, driven by the plants you sit among. Without them, the air would stand still. You think of all the leaves of Earth breathing in harmony, creating the pulse of the planet. A green tide rising each day with sunlight and settling each night with stars. The rabbit stirs, lifting its head as if listening to something distant. You follow its gaze to where the garden thickens, darker, quieter. There, beyond the fern's edge, you glimpse the shimmer of water reflecting moonlight. A hidden pool. The leaves rustle faintly as if encouraging you onward. The rabbit hops once, pauses, then looks back, waiting. You rise, brushing dew from your hands. Behind you, the leaves continue their secret conversations, translating starlight into calm, silence into sweetness. As you step toward the water's glow, you can still feel the rhythm of their breathing. Steady, patient, endless, the night deepens. The air thickens with scent and sound, and somewhere ahead, a single droplet falls, waiting to tell its story. As dawn approaches, you and the kind rabbit follow the shimmer of moonlight to a hidden pool. There, a single dewdrop teaches the quiet science of reflection and refraction, how every drop of water bends light into dreams, memory, and color. You learn that water not only sustains life, but remembers it. The rabbit moves ahead softly, paws brushing through the damp grass. You follow, feeling the world narrow into stillness. Every step is cushioned by moss, each breath cooled by the fragrance of water. Beyond the ferns, the garden opens into a hollow, a quiet basin cradling a pool no wider than a pond, no deeper than a dream. The moonlight rests gently on its surface, silver and undisturbed. You kneel beside the rabbit at the edge. The reflection of the night sky trembles in the pool. Stars, moon, and leaves all gathered in the same delicate mirror. You lean closer, and your own face joins the constellation. The rabbit taps the surface with its paw. A ring of ripples spreads outward, bending the stars, folding light like silk in motion. When the waves settle again, the reflection reforms, seamless, perfect, patient. You realize the pool does not resist change. It accepts it, shapes it, and then returns to stillness. Water, the rabbit seems to say without words, is the keeper of calm. You cup your hands and lift a little of it. The water slides between your fingers, weightless yet full of presence. In each droplet, the moon shivers, distorted, multiplied, reborn. You hold one droplet long enough to watch it cling to your fingertip, glistening. Inside, you see a miniature world. The garden turned upside down, a tiny inverted reflection. This is refraction, the bending of light as it passes through water. The light enters at one angle, slows and changes course as though pausing to rest. That simple shift lets you see the world anew. The rabbit tilts its head, as if admiring the same miracle. All around you, dew gathers on leaves, petals, and blades of grass. Each drop is a lens, bending starlight into hidden rainbows. The garden glows softly, haloed in prismatic light, too faint for hurried eyes to notice. You wonder how many mornings have begun like this, sunlight turning those same drops into brief sparks of color before they fade. 1,000 tiny rainbows that exist only for seconds, yet fill the world with wonder. Water, you think, is the Earth's memory. It travels in circles, rising, falling, flowing, freezing, and returning again. The same molecule that rests now on your fingertip might once have drifted through a cloud above a mountain, or nestled deep within the heart of an ancient seed. Nothing in water is ever lost, only transformed. The rabbit leans forward to sip from the pool. The ripples spread again, distorting the moonlight into slow, rolling waves. You realize that water doesn't just reflect, it listens. Every sound, every touch leaves a trace of motion, a brief echo that travels through its body. Even your heartbeat seems to hum faintly through it. If you could listen closely enough, perhaps you would hear the story of every raindrop that has ever fallen. You dip your hand again into the pool, letting the coolness rise against your skin. The surface feels alive, attention held in balance. That invisible film, called surface tension, is what allows the dewdrops to hold their shape, to rest perfectly round on leaves without spilling away. Molecules of water cling tightly to one another, forming bonds as if they are holding hands. This unity, this gentle cohesion, is what allows water to rise inside trees, to climb invisible stairways from root to leaf. It is how sap flows and how rivers form. Every drop helps another move upward. The rabbit's reflection ripples beside yours. Its eyes, dark and gleaming, seem to understand. The air feels cooler now. Dawn must be near. The stars begin to pale. Across the pool, a thin mist gathers, curling upward like breath. You reach out, half expecting to touch it, but it slips through your fingers, water turning to vapor, vanishing into air. Yet it isn't truly gone, only transformed again. The rabbit lifts its head, following the mist as it rises toward the fading moon. You feel a quiet awe at how easily water changes form. Liquid to gas, gas to cloud, cloud to rain. The same molecules that shimmer here tonight will one day fall as snow, drift as fog, or fill a river far away. Water teaches movement without struggle, change without fear. You look again at the pool and notice a single dewdrop trembling at the tip of a blade of grass nearby. The moonlight catches it, turning it into a perfect sphere of light. It quivers, almost ready to fall. You crouch to see closer. Inside the drop is the entire world. The rabbit, the pool, the stars. Everything contained in something smaller than a tear. It finally releases, falling with a sound too soft to hear, merging seamlessly with the earth below. One moment separate, the next part of something vast. You breathe out. The rabbit closes its eyes. For a while, the two of you simply watch the water, its surface rippling, reflecting, remembering. The garden around you begins to glow faintly with the first hint of dawn. Birdsong stirs in the distance, fragile and bright. The air thickens with scent, soil, moss, the promise of sunlight. The pool mirrors the gradual lightening of the sky, silver turning to pearl. You realize that what you see in water is not just reflection, it's perspective. The world is seen through calmness. When water is still, it shows truth. When disturbed, it shows motion. Both are beautiful, both necessary. The rabbit nudges your hand, then looks toward a gentle stream that seems to emerge from beneath the pool. The water there moves softly, gliding between stones and roots, forming rivulets that twist deeper into the garden. You follow, walking slowly beside the rabbit as the stream guides you forward. The sound of flowing water grows clearer, rhythmic, soothing, ancient. Every bend of the stream glints with light, every droplet carrying the memory of the pool you just left. You understand now what the rabbit wanted to show you, that stillness and movement are parts of the same lesson. Stillness teaches reflection. Movement teaches renewal. You trail your hand along the stream's edge, feeling its cool pulse. Beneath the surface, grains of sand shift and dance, carving patterns that mimic clouds. Water, it seems, sculpts even as it soothes. The rabbit pauses again, at a small archway of roots where the stream disappears underground. You kneel beside it, watching the current slip into the earth's hidden veins. Where does it go now? You wonder. Into the soil, perhaps, feeding the roots. Into stone, into underground rivers, into the heart of the world itself. The rabbit's whiskers twitch as if it has heard your thought. Then it hops lightly forward, deeper into the dimness. You follow, listening to the fading sound of water. Behind you, the pool remains, calm, eternal, reflecting a soft morning sky. Ahead, the earth grows warmer, scented with mineral and root. You realize the journey is leading you inward, not just into the garden, but into the living core of nature itself. You touch your chest. The rhythm of your heartbeat matches the memory of the stream. Within you, too, water flows. In your blood, in every cell, in every breath. You are, in truth, a walking tide. The rabbit looks back once more, its eyes gentle but bright. The water remembers. The world seems to whisper through the leaves. And so you continue, deeper into the garden's secret veins, where the stories of earth and water intertwine. As dawn stretches its golden limbs across the sky, the kind rabbit watches the awakening dance of bees, butterflies, and breeze. Through their delicate rhythm, you learn how pollination shapes the garden's endless cycle, how movement, color, and scent weave life together. Every flutter and hum carries the memory of sunlight. The world awakens in soft gold. The first light of dawn pours across the meadow, washing dew into diamonds and shadows into warmth. You and the kind rabbit sit quietly beneath the curve of a broad leaf, watching as the air begins to shimmer with sound. A hum begins low and distant, the faintest vibration, like the heart of the world slowly stirring. Then it grows nearer, layered and musical, as bees drift through the waking garden. The rabbit's ears tilt forward, alert but calm. The hum weaves around you both, a rhythm older than memory. Each note is a heartbeat of the earth itself. A bee lands gently upon a nearby flower, a pale pink blossom trembling in the morning air. Its wings glimmer, catching fragments of light like stained glass. You lean closer, drawn to the quiet miracle of motion. The bee lowers itself into the bloom, dusted with pollen that sparkles in the sunlight. It moves deliberately, unhurried, as though aware of its sacred task. The flower seems to bow beneath its touch, opening wider in welcome. Pollination. The rabbit seems to whisper through stillness, is the garden's song of connection. Each bee carries more than nectar. It carries possibility. As it moves from one flower to the next, grains of pollen cling to its body, then fall upon another waiting petal. That simple exchange, so delicate, so small, ensures that life continues. Seeds will form. Fruit will grow. The rhythm of seasons will keep its promise. You imagine the invisible threads linking one bloom to another, stretched across the garden like lines of golden silk. Each flight, each landing, each tiny brush of wing and stamen completes the circuit. And so the garden hums, a soft waltz of motion, guided by light. A butterfly drifts past, its wings a slow, painted breeze. It moves not with urgency, but with grace. When it lands, the flower bends again, swaying under its soft weight. You notice that unlike the bee, the butterfly's legs barely touch the pollen, yet still, it helps. Even a single brush transfers life. In this place, every gesture matters. Every motion, no matter how light, shapes the world. The rabbit hops forward, nose twitching at a cluster of blossoms. You follow, kneeling to see what has captured its attention. A beetle, tiny, iridescent, crawls through the folds of a petal, carrying a dusting of gold across its back. Another pollinator, less noticed but no less vital. You realize now that the garden's beauty isn't still. It's alive with collaboration. Every species participates in this slow, shimmering dance. The air thickens with scent, floral, sweet, filled with purpose. The wind joins in, carrying grains of pollen farther than wings could fly. Even the invisible plays its part. You remember something you once read, that plants call to their pollinators with invisible languages. Color, scent, shape, pattern, each flower tells a story through its design. Bees can see ultraviolet light, a color your eyes cannot. In that hidden spectrum, the petals reveal secret markings, arrows pointing to nectar like signposts made of light. To the bee, the world glows in patterns unseen, maps drawn by the flowers themselves. You close your eyes for a moment, imagining the world as the bee sees it. A garden painted not in the colors of sight, but in energy and vibration. Every bloom a pulse, every scent a song. The rabbit sits beside you, still and serene. Around it, the bees move in spirals, tracing loops in the air that shimmer with rhythm. Some dance upon the surface of the hive, using their bodies to communicate. Tiny movements that form messages of distance, direction, and abundance. This is the waggle dance, the bees' living map of the garden. Through it, they tell one another where sunlight touches flowers most richly. You think of how simple motion, a sway, a spin, a hum, becomes language. Not with words, but with rhythm. The garden doesn't speak through noise, but through balance. The rabbit lowers its head, nibbling softly at a stem, and you feel the world slow again. Time itself seems to pulse with each flutter of wing, each tremble of leaf. The air is alive with the scent of pollen, faintly golden, faintly sweet. It drifts upward, catching on currents invisible yet exact. You realize that pollination isn't just survival, it's generosity. Every flower gives without guarantee, trusting that something, wind, bee, butterfly, will carry its offering forward. You glance toward the horizon. The sun climbs higher now, painting the garden in brighter tones. Shadows shorten, and the dew begins to fade. Yet still, the bees move, tireless, serene, steady. Their wings beat so quickly that they blur into invisibility, yet each beat creates the soft hum that fills the air. You listen, and in that sound you hear balance. There is science, of course, vibration, frequency, air pressure. But there is also art. The hum itself comforts you. It resonates somewhere deep inside, where your own heartbeat matches its rhythm. You begin to notice how your breath syncs with the pattern. Inhale as a bee lands, exhale as it lifts away. Breathing becomes a mirror to the movement of life. The rabbit turns to you, eyes calm. You feel an unspoken lesson passing between you, that peace doesn't come from stillness alone, but from harmony. The garden isn't silent, but it is serene. Its motion is purposeful, never chaotic. You look up to see two butterflies circling each other above a bed of daisies, their wings brushing the air like soft notes of music. They drift apart, then together again, looping in a quiet rhythm that feels like joy. The rabbit blinks slowly, content. The scent of wild lavender drifts by, mingling with the sweetness of honey. A bee passes so close you can feel the soft displacement of air, then vanishes toward a new bloom. You realize that this dance, this pollinator's waltz, never ends. Even when night returns, the garden continues to breathe, to hum in dreams. Some flowers close at dusk, others open, welcoming moths instead of bees. The rhythm merely shifts, but never stops. The earth, you understand, is always in motion, an unending exchange of energy, care, and continuation. You glance down at your hands, imagining the invisible pollen grains that might rest upon your skin. Perhaps, without knowing, you too have joined the dance. The rabbit stands, stretching slightly, its fur brushed with the shimmer of morning light. It begins to move once more, following the stream of bees toward the far end of the meadow. You follow in silence, each step light, each breath slow. Around you, wings hum, petals tremble, air glows. You are walking through music. The path narrows between tall grasses, their tips crowned with seeds that sway like tiny lanterns. The rabbit pauses, looking upward as the wind moves through, a whisper that scatters pollen into the open sky. You watch it drift away, golden dust rising like stars at dawn. Pollination, you think, is the art of trust, of giving something unseen to the wind, believing it will find its way home. The rabbit's gaze softens, then turns toward the east, where sunlight pools brighter now. Ahead, beyond the meadow, the warmth deepens, a soft pulse of golden light rippling through the leaves. You realize the next lesson is waiting there, in the story of the sun itself, the source of every hum, every petal, every breath of this garden. You take one last look at the bees, the butterflies, the petals opening wide to the sky. The hum fades gently as the rabbit begins to hop forward again. And as you follow, you feel the warmth grow across your skin. A new chapter of light awakening. The kind rabbit rests beneath a canopy of gold, where sunlight spills like honey through the leaves. In the hush of midday warmth, you learn the science of sunlight, how energy travels across space, becomes life within a leaf, and nourishes every breath. The story of light becomes a story of connection. The garden glows now with the fullness of morning. The air is warm but gentle, carrying the scent of open blossoms and wet earth. You and the kind rabbit wander through tall grasses that shine like spun gold. The hum of bees has softened into the background, replaced by the quiet murmur of sunlight touching everything. The rabbit stops beside a stone warmed by light and settles upon it, its fur glowing softly in the golden hue. You sit nearby, closing your eyes for a moment. The warmth touches your face, your hands, your heartbeat. It feels as if the world itself is breathing around you, slow, steady, radiant. The sunlight is not just warmth. It is the quiet story of a star, spoken across the infinite silence of space. Every ray of light that reaches you has traveled nearly 150 million kilometers, journeying from the heart of the sun, a furnace of unimaginable energy. Inside that blazing heart, atoms collide and merge, releasing light and heat through a process called fusion. Each photon, each particle of light, begins a long, slow escape from the sun's dense center, taking thousands of years to reach its surface. And then, in an instant, it leaps outward, across the void, racing through the emptiness of space for just over 8 minutes before arriving here, upon your skin, upon the garden, upon the rabbit's fur. You open your eyes. The light feels different now, ancient, generous, full of patience. The rabbit blinks slowly, as if aware of the journey that each beam has taken. Its whiskers shimmer faintly in the glow. You notice how sunlight filters through the leaves above, breaking into patches of brightness and shade. Each leaf glows translucent, thin, green, alive. Within them, something miraculous unfolds. This is photosynthesis, the quiet magic that allows life to eat light. Inside every leaf, tiny structures called chloroplasts capture sunlight. These are like little solar cells made of living matter. They take the energy of photons and use it to combine carbon dioxide from the air and water from the soil, creating sugar, the food that feeds not just the plant, but every creature that depends on it. You watch the rabbit nibble softly on a leaf, and you smile. In a way, it is eating sunlight transformed into sweetness. So are you. In every fruit, every grain, every breath that comes from green life. The light that began in a star's heart is now part of you. You reach out your hand, watching sunlight pool across your palm. The warmth tingles faintly, the invisible energy that fuels all motion. You realize that what you feel is the end of a journey billions of years in the making, and yet it feels so peaceful. The rabbit stretches, eyes half closed, body relaxed in the golden calm. You mimic its stillness, feeling your breathing slow. The warmth seeps deeper, through skin into muscle, into the rhythm of your pulse. In that moment, you sense how energy flows in circles. The sunlight touches the leaf. The leaf feeds the soil feeds the root feeds the rabbit, and the rabbit breathes warmth back into the air. Nothing is wasted. Every spark returns home. You glance at the sky, endless blue, soft as silk. The air wavers slightly in the heat, shimmering like invisible waves. That shimmer is the dance of light and air, photons meeting molecules, their energy shifting between warmth and motion. the world, you realize, is alive with vibration. Even the stillness hums. The rabbit's nose twitches toward the wind. You follow its gaze and see how the light flickers through the movement of leaves. Every motion changes the way the light falls. Shadows drifting like water across the ground. This too is energy. Not lost. Just transformed from beam to breeze to brightness again. You remember how earlier, in the quiet beneath the roots, life whispered in darkness. Now under sunlight, that same life sings. Light and dark are partners, the rhythm of all growth. The rabbit shifts, its fur glowing brighter where the light strikes. You realize that warmth isn't uniform. It pools in patterns guided by color and surface. Dark fur absorbs more, light fur reflects it. The same happens in the soil. The leaves, the petals. This balance keeps the world alive, each part taking just enough, sharing the rest. You trace your fingers across the stone. It radiates a steady heat, the sun's memory stored in solid form. Even after the light fades, the stone will release that warmth back into the evening air. A quiet echo of day. You whisper softly, the sun breathes and the earth exhales. The rabbit's ears flick, as if it heard your thought. It hops a few steps forward to where the sunlight breaks into prisms through a spider's web. Threads of silk shimmer in faint rainbows. Light bends again, just as it did in the dewdrops. The same science of refraction, the same poetry of transformation. But this time, you notice how even something as fragile as a web can hold the universe's fire for an instant. The rabbit pauses there, nose close to the web, reverent. You watch together, saying nothing. The world seems to hold its breath. Then, gently, the breeze returns. The web trembles. The light scatters, and the moment passes. You breathe in deeply, feeling sunlight warm the inside of your lungs. Though you know it's only metaphor, still, it feels true. The air you inhale carries oxygen, the gift of plants made possible by light. The exhale returns carbon dioxide, which feeds them in turn. Every breath is a conversation between body and leaf. You close your eyes and imagine the world speaking softly through respiration, the earth breathing in light and exhaling life. When you open your eyes again, the rabbit has hopped to the edge of the meadow where a wide tree casts a dappled shadow. Beneath it, patches of sunlight ripple like living goldfish in a green pond. You follow, stepping into the shifting pattern. Each movement of wind above creates a new constellation of light below. The warmth comes in pulses, as if the air itself were alive. You feel grateful for the simplicity of it, for the way energy travels invisibly, silently, yet sustains everything you see. You sit beside the rabbit once more. The tree above hums with quiet life, insects moving in rhythm, leaves adjusting to catch the most light without losing moisture. Even the tiniest movements are purposeful. Sunlight, you realize, is not chaotic. It is direction made visible. The rabbit leans against the base of the tree, half in shade, half in sun. You do the same. The balance feels perfect, warm and cool, bright and dim. You understand now that light doesn't just illuminate. It teaches balance. Too much burns, too little withers. Every leaf knows this instinctively. You tilt your head back, eyes tracing the thin rays that filter through the branches. The air seems to shimmer with invisible particles, dust, pollen, tiny motes suspended in gold. Each speck catches the light, revealing itself for an instant before vanishing again. The rabbit follows one drifting speck with its gaze, watching as it glows, then disappears into brightness. You wonder how many lives begin in moments like this, a seed carried on light and air. Somewhere in that thought, a gentle fatigue settles over you. Not the heaviness of exhaustion, but the sweetness of calm. Your mind drifts between science and wonder, between knowing and dreaming. The warmth seems to hum softly around your body, like a lullaby from the sun itself. You think of the photons, tiny messengers that left their star to find this exact moment. They could have missed you by millions of miles, and yet, here they are, resting gently on your skin. The rabbit lifts its face toward the sky, eyes half closed. Its breath rises and falls slowly. You match its rhythm, feeling light flow into you as easily as air. For a while, neither of you move. The world exists only as warmth, heartbeat, and quiet illumination. Then, the rabbit stirs. Its ears twitch toward the west, where shadows begin to lengthen. The sun lowers, the gold deepening to amber. The air shifts, cooler now, carrying the faint scent of soil again. The day's breath turns into sigh. You understand, energy never stops. It only changes form. The warmth that fades from the air will descend into the soil, feeding roots, stirring the life below. The light's journey continues, downward, inward, into the unseen world. The rabbit takes a final look at the glowing horizon. The sun slips behind a low hill, leaving a last brushstroke of rose across the sky. Night begins to gather again, slow, gentle, inevitable. The rabbit turns toward the shadowed path, where the hum of day gives way to the whisper of earth. And as you follow, you realize where the next lesson waits. Not in the light above, but in the soil beneath. The garden's true heartbeat lies there, hidden in darkness. Still and alive, you walk quietly beside the rabbit, carrying the warmth of sunlight inside you. A golden memory that will guide you into the deeper world below. As twilight deepens, the kind rabbit guides you below the world of leaves into the living earth. You learn how soil breathes, how roots listen, and how invisible lives, fungi, microbes, and worms, form the quiet pulse that sustains the planet. The warmth of sunlight still lingers faintly on your skin as you follow the kind rabbit toward the shaded edge of the garden. The air grows cooler now, filled with the scent of roots and moss. You can feel the shift, from open brightness to soft earthbound calm, as if the world itself is exhaling. The rabbit pauses beside a burrow entrance, half hidden beneath ferns. The soil there is dark, rich, and slightly damp. You kneel and touch it with your fingertips. It crumbles easily, warm where the day's heat still hides. Cool beneath the surface, the rabbit looks up at you, eyes deep and knowing, as if to say, "Listen here." You lean closer. At first, there is only silence, the hush of evening settling, the slow rhythm of your own breath. But then, beneath that stillness, something subtle begins to emerge. A faint rhythmic murmur. It is not sound exactly. It is more like a feeling. A slow pulsing presence that rises and falls through the ground. The soil, you whisper, is breathing. The rabbit's ears twitch in agreement. It begins to dig gently, paws moving with the ease of one who knows the earth's language. Small grains fall aside, revealing layers. Light brown, darker, then nearly black. Each layer holds a story. Ancient leaves turn to humus, stones smoothed by time, tiny roots tracing their hidden paths. You pick up a handful. Between your fingers, the soil feels alive, soft but textured, filled with invisible motion, because it is alive. Within every pinch of soil, millions of tiny organisms are working. Bacteria, fungi, nematodes, protozoa. Together, they form a hidden web more vast than any forest canopy. They eat, grow, and transform what has fallen from above, leaves, petals, old roots, into nourishment for new life. The rabbit noses the soil gently, then looks at you again. You understand. This is the garden's true heartbeat. You close your eyes and imagine what lies below, the world beneath the world. Roots stretch downward like fingers, touching stones, wrapping around hidden rivers of moisture. Fungal threads weave between them, forming an invisible network. The mycorrhizae, the Earth's quiet internet. Through those threads, trees whisper to each other. They share sugars, warnings, care. When one tree suffers, another nearby sends nutrients through this web of life. It's like kindness written in molecules. The rabbit presses its paw softly against the ground. You do the same, feeling the faint hum beneath your hand. Not from machines, not from sound, but from life itself. You whisper, "Everything is connected." The rabbit tilts its head as if smiling. It begins to move again, leading you through a narrow path where the soil grows softer underfoot. Here, small mushrooms bloom like quiet lanterns, pale caps glowing faintly in the dusk. They seem almost aware of your presence. You kneel to look closer. Beneath each mushroom lies an invisible empire. Miles of filament so fine you could fit dozens across a strand of hair. They are decomposers, recyclers, healers. What the forest discards, they transform. Through them, death becomes nourishment. Endings turn into beginnings. The rabbit hops to one of the mushrooms and sniffs it gently. A few specks of soil cling to its nose, and you can't help but smile. The sight feels comforting, a reminder that even small, humble things can hold immense wisdom. You touch the ground again, this time with your whole palm. The soil is warm at the surface, but cool below, like memory layered in temperature. Tiny vibrations pass through it. Movements of worms tunneling, roots expanding, water shifting molecule by molecule. It feels like the earth is dreaming. The rabbit digs a shallow hollow and settles into it, half in, half out of the soil. You sit beside it, breathing in the scent of humus and dusk. From here, you can feel both worlds, the quiet above and the pulsing below. The air carries faint echoes of the day, the hum of bees fading, the distant call of a bird returning home. But beneath it all, that deep vibration continues, steady and ancient. Scientists call it bioturbation, the movement of life through soil. Every worm, beetle, and microbe stirs the ground, allowing air to reach roots, water to flow, seeds to settle. Without them, the earth would harden and life would fade. The soil is not merely the ground we walk upon. It is the planet's skin, sensitive, alive, ever renewing. The rabbit's eyes half close as if listening to a lullaby only the earth can sing. You listen too. There's a rhythm there. Not a beat you can measure, but one you can feel, slow and grounding. Thump, silence, thump, like the pulse of a vast heart. You begin to understand why ancient peoples called the earth Mother. Everything that lives rises from her, and everything that ends returns. Nothing is lost, only changed, reabsorbed into the great breathing cycle. You watch a single fallen leaf resting near your foot. In days or weeks, it will curl, darken, and crumble. Fungi will thread through it, microbes will dine upon it, and soon it will become part of the soil that feeds new roots. A quiet transformation, endless and beautiful. The rabbit rises again and begins to nudge small stones aside, revealing the fine white filaments beneath, the hyphae of mushrooms stretching through the ground like glowing veins. You see how they cling to roots, connecting plant to plant, tree to flower. It is communication through chemistry, sugars traded for minerals, messages written in molecules. You whisper, "The earth is talking." The rabbit looks up, whiskers glinting faintly as if to say yes, but only to those who listen slowly. You sit in stillness. The coolness of the soil seeps through your hands and into your body, steadying your heartbeat until it matches the rhythm below. For a long moment, nothing else exists, only the soft breath of the rabbit, the dark perfume of earth, and the invisible web humming beneath. The twilight deepens. Fireflies rise from the grass, blinking gently like thoughts forming in the mind of night. Their lights flicker above the rabbit's ears. One lands on your knee, tiny, weightless, alive. You smile, remembering how light from the sun became energy in the soil, and now shines here in a living spark. Energy moving in circles, endlessly reborn. You lift your hand and the firefly drifts away, its glow fading into the gathering dusk. The rabbit watches it go, then noses at a patch of moss, its texture velvety and wet. Mosses are ancient, older than flowers, older even than trees. They were among the first to draw life from stone, to coax green from gray, and beneath them the soil deepens further, the hidden world beneath worlds. You imagine layers stretching downward for meters. For centuries, roots fossilized, ashes turned to mineral. The memory of rains long vanished. Each layer holds time the way tree rings hold age. The rabbit begins to hop again, slowly, leading you toward a hollow where the earth dips low and the scent of clay grows stronger. Here, small rivulets of water shimmer in the dim light, weaving between roots like liquid glass. You crouch beside one, watching how the surface trembles when a drop from a leaf falls into it. The ripple spreads outward, touching everything in its path. The rabbit dips its paw gently into the water, then sets it on the soil, leaving a dark print that begins to fade as the earth absorbs it. The message feels clear. Every touch leaves something behind, and every mark returns to balance. You breathe in deeply. The air smells of life and memory, damp leaves, cool minerals, faint sweetness of decomposing roots. Above, the first stars begin to appear through the thinning canopy. Their light, like the sun's, traveled millions of years to arrive here, only to fall upon soil made from the dust of ancient stars. The circle is complete. You and the rabbit sit together in the deepening dusk, feeling the heartbeat of the planet through the ground beneath you. It's not something to be seen or even heard, but something to be felt, a presence, a patience. You realize that peace is not found in stillness alone. It's found in the slow, constant transformation that makes stillness possible. The rabbit shifts closer, its fur brushing against your hand, grounding you in this quiet moment. You whisper softly, "Thank you, Earth." The soil holds your words gently, as if absorbing them into its endless cycle. The rabbit's eyes reflect the faint light of the stars now rising. It gives one slow nod, then looks toward the east, where night begins to thicken into velvet darkness. You know the next lesson waits there, in the deep quiet of night, where the unseen world comes alive again under the moon's gaze. You rise slowly, brushing soil from your palms. The ground beneath your feet feels warm still, alive, breathing, welcoming. You and the rabbit begin to walk back toward the open garden, where fireflies trace golden threads through the air and the horizon glows faintly blue. Behind you, the soil continues its work, quiet, patient, unending. It will breathe through the night and through every night after, turning death into life, silence into song, darkness into nourishment. The heartbeat of the world, steady, eternal, follows you as you go. The kind rabbit feels the breeze ripple through the tall grass. You follow the wind as it carries seeds, scents, and silent messages across the land. In the gentle current, you find lessons in air, motion, and balance, the science of flow. The night breathes softly now. A cool wind slides across the meadow, brushing your fur-lined sleeve, carrying the scent of jasmine and damp soil. The stars shimmer clear and bright, and for the first time, you notice how they seem to move ever so slightly, reflected in the rippling blades of grass. The kind rabbit lifts its nose, whiskers twitching. You do the same. The air is not still tonight. It is alive, moving, invisible yet present, shaping everything it touches. You take a slow breath in. It fills your lungs gently, a soft wave of air that once passed through forests, fields, mountains, and seas. This very breath may have danced above deserts, drifted across oceans, circled the globe in long, spiraling journeys. You exhale. The molecules you release will begin their own voyage, perhaps to touch a faraway shore, or to fill the lungs of a bird in flight. You smile at the thought. Every breath is a traveler. The rabbit hops forward, fur ruffling as a stronger breeze passes by. The grass bends, bows, then rises again. You watch the motion spread outward, one blade bending into another, a shimmering ripple like light across water. It is air made visible through movement. You realize that wind is not a thing in itself, but a dance, the motion of air from one place to another, always seeking balance. When one patch of earth warms beneath the sun, the air above it rises, becoming lighter. Cooler air rushes in to take its place, and in this endless exchange, the wind is born. You imagine it as breath, the planet's own inhale and exhale. Day by day, hour by hour, the earth breathes through the movement of its air. The rabbit stands still, fur trembling gently with the rhythm of the breeze. Its ears tilt and adjust, tracing unseen lines of current like antennas attuned to silence. You wonder what it feels. Perhaps the rabbit can sense directions in ways you cannot. The temperature, the pressure, the faint shifts that signal rain or morning. Animals, you realize, are fluent in the language of air. Birds rise into it and trust it to hold them. Moths ride its invisible roads guided by scent, finding flowers that bloom under moonlight. Even seeds know this language. You look down and notice one, a tiny dandelion seed, lifting from the soil, spinning upward in a soft spiral. The rabbit watches it too, eyes gleaming. You follow its ascent. The seed drifts higher, carried by the wind's invisible hand, spinning with gentle grace. It rises, dips, and then glides away, vanishing into the starlit dark. Somewhere it will land, on damp soil perhaps, or between stones, and there it will begin again. The wind is its vessel, its storyteller. The rabbit begins to move again, and you walk beside it, your footsteps quiet on the soft ground. The wind swirls around you like a curious spirit, brushing through your hair, tugging at your sleeves. Each gust feels slightly different, one cool and brisk, another warm and slow. You remember how air is never still, even when the world appears calm. Even now, millions of tiny currents flow around you, rising from your warmth, spiraling in vortices too small to see. You reach a cluster of tall reeds by a small pond. They sway rhythmically, whispering secrets in soft rustles. The rabbit sits, eyes half closed as though listening. You listen too. The sound is mesmerizing. Layers of whispers, each shaped by the wind's passing. It is said that wind makes the world speak. It plays the reeds like flutes, the leaves like cymbals, the grass like strings. Through it, the landscape becomes an instrument of air. You watch how the wind sculpts everything it touches. The pond's surface ripples like glass coming to life. A fallen leaf dances across it, its motion unpredictable yet graceful. That, you realize, is the secret of flow, order within chaos. In physics, it is called fluid dynamics, the study of how liquids and gases move. But in nature, it feels more like art. Every swirl of air, every curve of current, follows invisible equations written by temperature, pressure, and time. And yet, the result is music, motion that feels alive. The rabbit lowers its head as if bowing to the breeze. You do the same, feeling air slide gently over your skin. In this quiet surrender, there is no resistance, only trust. You let the wind pass through you, around you, carrying your thoughts like drifting leaves. You remember how air connects all living things. When plants release oxygen, you breathe it in. When you exhale carbon dioxide, they absorb it. Every breath, every breeze, every wind gust is part of a grand conversation between life and air. A gust moves through the reeds again, this time stronger, filling the air with a soft hum. You close your eyes, and for a moment, it feels like you are floating, not standing on earth, but carried in the same current as the drifting seed, the scent of soil, the sigh of the rabbit's fur. The rabbit nudges your knee gently, grounding you back to the moment. You both watch the horizon now, the grass rippling in waves, each motion revealing the wind's invisible pathways. You think of how pilots, birds, and even pollen learn to read these paths. High above, the jet streams circle the planet, rivers of wind moving faster than any creature could fly. They carry clouds, weather, even the promise of rain. Low to the ground, smaller currents dance, each shaped by hills, trees, and stones. You realize the air is never empty. It is full of journeys. A single feather floats by, turning in slow circles. The rabbit looks up, following it with unblinking eyes. You reach out your hand but do not catch it. You let it pass, continuing its gentle fall. The feather lands a few steps away, barely making a sound. It rests there, a tiny map of motion. proof that something unseen carried it from one life to another. The breeze begins to change now. Warmer, drier, as if carrying whispers from distant places. You inhale deeply. Perhaps it holds the scent of mountains or the ocean, or the flowers of another meadow far away. Every wind is part memory, part messenger. The rabbit turns its gaze eastward. The moon has risen high, lighting the field in silver. You see how the wind plays with moonlight, how it moves the grass in soft waves, creating patterns that shimmer like water. You realize that light, too, travels through invisible paths, not of air, but of space itself. Both light and wind move endlessly, bringing motion to stillness, connection to distance. The rabbit takes a deep breath, its chest rising and falling slowly. You do the same. Your breath joins the breeze, blending into the invisible cycle that has existed since the world began. For a moment, you imagine you can see it, the thin, swirling streams of air weaving around you, through you, above you. Threads of motion connecting everything that breathes. You are part of the wind now, not separate from it. Your heartbeat slows, your shoulders loosen. The air carries your weariness away. The rabbit begins to hop toward a hill where tall wildflowers sway under moonlight. You follow, your movements light, almost drifting. At the top, you both stop and look out over the meadow. The wind flows through it like a slow ocean. The rabbit sits. You kneel beside it. Together you listen. The world hums, not in noise but in motion. Everything that moves is part of one great breath. You exhale, and the wind seems to echo it. In this harmony you understand. Peace is not stillness, but flow. The rabbit looks up at you with calm eyes. Then it glances toward the glowing horizon, where the moon hangs low, hinting at what comes next, the quiet mystery of the night's deeper rhythm. You breathe again, feeling air move softly through your lungs, through the grass, through the world itself. Invisible, infinite, alive. The wind continues its journey, carrying you forward toward the waiting moon. Beneath a silver moon, the garden glows softly. Plants and creatures move by a rhythm written in their cells, the circadian dance of life. You explore how bodies and blossoms sense the passage of time and light, guided by the gentle pull of the moon. Night has unfolded like a quiet breath. The kind rabbit stands still beneath the open sky, its fur gleaming faintly in the moonlight. Above you, the moon glows, bright yet tender, a lantern hanging in the hush of the heavens. You inhale the cool air. It tastes of dew and sleep, of soil still whispering from the day's warmth. The breeze that carried you here has softened, and the meadow now lies in shimmering calm. Every blade of grass glows with a thin edge of silver, and the garden, once alive with daylight motion, rests beneath a sky of ancient rhythm. The rabbit hops forward, paws making no sound on the soft earth. You follow quietly. The world feels suspended, balanced between stillness and motion. Even the shadows seem alive, breathing with the pulse of moonlight. As you walk, the rabbit pauses beside a cluster of flowers, moonflowers, their pale petals open wide, drinking the light. They bloom only now, in this gentle hour, guided by an unseen clock that beats in every living cell. You kneel, captivated by their quiet glow. How do they know when to wake? You whisper. The rabbit looks at you, eyes soft and knowing, as if to say, Everything that lives carries time within it. You let your gaze drift across the garden. Even in this stillness, you can feel the movement of unseen rhythms, the slow unfurling of petals, the stretching of roots, the tiny shifts of sleeping leaves. All around you, life keeps its own time, tuned not to human hours but to cycles older than memory. It's called the circadian rhythm, the inner clock that guides all living things. Plants open to the sun and close to the dark, animals wake and rest, even cells divide and repair in time with the day's pulse. You look up at the moon again. Its light is softer than the sun's, but no less powerful. Where the sun commands, the moon whispers. It speaks in tides and patterns, in gravity and reflection. Its pull touches oceans and hearts alike. The rabbit turns its face upward, whiskers quivering as if feeling the moon's invisible hand. You realize that this light, though gentle, carries messages. It tells flowers when to bloom, insects when to fly, turtles when to lay their eggs by the shore. Its rhythm shapes the world in ways both subtle and immense. A faint rustling catches your ear. You turn to see night creatures stirring, the soft flap of a moth's wings, the slow crawl of a snail through damp grass, the quiet hum of crickets weaving a lullaby. Each one follows its own rhythm, harmonizing with the moon's song. You sit down beside the rabbit, the soil cool beneath you. "Does everything sleep?" you ask softly. The rabbit's ears twitch. It blinks slowly, a kind of nod. Even rest, you realize, is part of the great pattern. Every living thing needs pause, the chance to repair, to reset, to breathe in stillness. Inside your own body, thousands of tiny clocks are ticking. In your brain, one master rhythm sets the pace, telling your cells when to wake, when to dream, when to renew. You are not separate from this garden. You are part of it, made of the same rhythms and starlight. The rabbit moves again, hopping toward the pond. Its surface mirrors the sky, the moon's reflection trembling with every ripple. You kneel beside it, watching your own reflection beside the rabbit's. For a moment, your faces merge in the water, two forms joined by silver light. The rabbit dips its paw into the pond, sending ripples outward. You follow with your hand. The circles meet, merge, and become one. The moon shivers in the reflection, but it doesn't vanish. It adapts, reshapes, continues. You smile. That too is rhythm. Even disturbance can create harmony. A gentle breeze moves through the reeds, and the garden seems to sigh. The night has its own kind of heartbeat, a rhythm slower than day, but deeper. You can feel it in your pulse, steady and calm, matching the quiet throb of life all around you. The rabbit hops into a patch of moonlight and pauses, still as a stone. You watch it listen, to the silence, to the faint hum of insects, to the almost imperceptible vibration of the earth beneath. You realize that darkness is not the absence of life, it's the presence of quiet transformation. Under the moon's gaze, the world repairs itself. Leaves breathe out oxygen, flowers absorb night moisture, your own body releases the fatigue of the day, cell by cell, heartbeat by heartbeat. The moon drifts higher. Clouds pass across it like soft thoughts, veiling and unveiling its face. You feel time move, not in hours, but in light. You think of how everything on earth turns toward or away from light in an endless dance. This turning is what creates day and night, sleep and wakefulness, action and rest. It is the planet's lullaby, the reason you dream when you do, the reason flowers open in dawn's glow. The rabbit turns its gaze toward a patch of clover glowing faintly under the moon. Each leaf shimmers with dew, tiny droplets that capture fragments of starlight. The rabbit begins to nibble, calm and unhurried. You watch the small rise and fall of its chest, the serenity of the moment. You whisper, "The world feels so alive tonight." And it is, alive not in noise, but in harmony. The moonlight reveals what daylight hides, the slow pulse of balance. For every growth there is rest. For every action, reflection. For every bright noon, a quiet midnight. You look up again, tracing the stars around the moon. Their patterns seem almost to breathe, as if the sky itself has its own rhythm. Astronomers once believed the heavens were fixed, but even stars pulse and flicker in cycles, light that expands and contracts, hearts that beat across galaxies. The rabbit stretches out on the ground, ears resting against the cool soil. You lie beside it, gazing upward. The sky looks infinite, yet somehow familiar, as if your body remembers it. Perhaps it does. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the oxygen in your lungs, all once formed in ancient stars. The light you see now left those stars long before you were born, traveling across the dark to reach this garden, this moment. The moon moves higher still, and you feel yourself sinking deeper into peace. Your breath slow. The air feels heavier now, not from weight, but from fullness, as though the night itself is wrapping around you. The rabbit closes its eyes. You follow, letting the silver glow behind your eyelids become a soft ocean. You can feel your body aligning with the rhythm of the world, the same rhythm that guides the moon's path, the tides, the blooming of flowers, the beating of your heart. Somewhere deep inside, your cells listen. They know the pattern. They have always known. You drift in that awareness, neither awake nor asleep, but balanced perfectly between. Time loses its edges. The air, the soil, the rabbit's warmth beside you, all merge into one quiet field of being. When you open your eyes again, the moon has shifted slightly, marking the passage of unseen hours. The garden remains still, yet you sense a faint anticipation, as if it too is waiting for the next breath, the next turning of the earth. The rabbit rises slowly and looks toward the horizon, where the first hints of pale dawn are brushing the sky. The night's rhythm has begun to fade, giving way to another. You feel the subtle exchange between moonlight and sunlight, between rest and awakening, dream and renewal. You whisper, "The garden never truly sleeps." The rabbit gives a soft nod. Its ears flick toward the east, where morning light stirs the edge of the world. The moon glows faintly now, its strength waning, but its memory lingers in every leaf and drop of dew. You stand beside the rabbit, breathing in the air heavy with night's final song. And in that silence, you feel gratitude for the balance, the rhythm, the knowing that even darkness holds life's most tender lessons. The rabbit begins to hop slowly back toward the heart of the meadow. You follow, the world around you awakening by degrees, shadows fading, colors returning. You glance once more over your shoulder. The moon hangs low now, reflected one last time in the pond's quiet mirror. Its light, soft and silver, whispers farewell as it fades, but deep within you, something remains illuminated. A rhythm, a calm pulse. The quiet awareness that you, too, are part of the moon's eternal dance. And as you walk beside the rabbit into the soft, blushing dawn, you feel the pull of stillness waiting once more, calling you toward the secret within it. The sky blushes at the horizon, the faintest silver turning to gold. Night sighs its last breath, and the world awakens in a hush, softer than a whisper. You stand beside the kind rabbit as dawn unravels like a ribbon of light across the meadow. The garden around you glimmers, every leaf tipped with dew, every petal trembling with quiet joy. It feels as though the earth itself has taken a deep, renewing breath. The rabbit blinks slowly, gazing at the brightening sky. For a long moment, neither of you speaks. You only listen to the drip of dew from leaves, the soft buzz of a bee testing the first bloom, the far cry of a bird stretching its wings to morning. You remember the moon's silver rhythm, the pulse of the garden's heart, the unseen clock that keeps time within every living cell. Now, with the coming of the sun, the cycle continues, not ending, only changing form. The rabbit turns toward you, eyes warm and steady. In their reflection, you see the dawn and something more, the gentle understanding that stillness isn't the absence of motion. It is the space that allows life to move meaningfully. You sit down in the grass, your body heavy with calm, and the rabbit settles beside you. The earth beneath you feels alive, tiny roots stretching, insects stirring, water moving invisibly through veins of soil. The whole world seems to hum a low note of contentment. You whisper, "Everything's waking up." The rabbit gives a soft nod. Yet you can still feel the lingering quiet of the night inside you, like a cool thread of moonlight resting within your chest. That's when you begin to sense it, the secret within stillness. It's not emptiness, as you once thought. It's fullness, a pause that holds everything together. Just as a heartbeat needs the space between beats to stay steady, the world needs its moments of silence to stay whole. You close your eyes. The air brushes your skin, warm now but gentle. Inside, your own rhythm aligns with the earth's. Inhale and exhale, light and shadow, rest and renewal. You realize the rabbit has been teaching you all along, not with words, but with presence. Every hop, every pause, every tilt of its head has been a lesson in awareness. You see how it listens to the world before it moves, how it trusts the moment before acting, how it allows stillness to be its strength, not its weakness. A butterfly drifts by, its wings flashing gold in the sunlight. It lands softly on a flower, motionless for a heartbeat before taking flight again. Even in flight, you notice, there is rhythm, an invisible balance between effort and ease. The rabbit watches too. Then it looks up at you, as if asking, "Can you feel it?" You can. It's in the slow rustle of wind through the trees, the gentle hum beneath the soil, the rise and fall of your breath. It's in every cycle that life creates, not rushing, not forcing, simply being. You think of how humans often chase motion, doing, building, hurrying, forgetting that growth also requires stillness. Even stars, those radiant giants, spend long eons in silence before they burst into light. Every beginning waits in quiet first. The rabbit hops closer. You can feel the warmth of its fur against your hand. Its heartbeat is small but strong, a perfect reminder of balance. Movement and pause, sound and silence, life and rest. You smile and whisper, "Stillness is not the end. It's the heartbeat of everything." The rabbit blinks slowly, the soft wind lifting its ears. You look up. The sun now rests just above the horizon, spilling golden light over the meadow. The last stars fade like gentle sighs, retreating to rest beyond the blue. Somewhere deep in your memory, you hear the echo of all the places you've journeyed with the rabbit. The forest, the river, the mountains, the moonlit garden. Each one has carried its own rhythm, its own teaching. And together, they've led you here, to this moment of peace. You realize now that stillness isn't separate from life. It is life when seen closely enough. Even in sleep, your body works in quiet miracles, repairing, growing, dreaming. Even in silence, atoms move, stars burn, roots stretch. The rabbit turns toward a nearby hill, where the grass glows gold under the rising sun. You follow, each step slow and deliberate. At the hill's crest, you can see everything. The vast meadow, the silver pond, the trees now painted with morning. The world feels complete. You sit again, and the rabbit curls beside you. You feel the warmth of the sun on your face, the cool breath of the earth beneath, and the steady rhythm between them. In that harmony, you understand the truth. The secret within stillness is connection. When you pause, truly pause, you become part of everything. You can feel the thread that links leaf to sky, wind to soil, heartbeat to heartbeat. That thread hums softly now, and you listen. It sounds like the universe breathing. The rabbit stirs, gazing toward the forest beyond the meadow. It seems ready to go. You understand, journeys don't end, they evolve. The rabbit has other paths to follow, other dreamers to guide. You reach out, resting your hand gently on its back. "Thank you," you whisper. For a moment, the rabbit presses close, a quiet farewell without sorrow. Then it hops away, the sunlight catching the curve of its fur until it becomes a glimmer in the gold. You stay there, watching, until it disappears into the trees. The meadow feels vast now, but not empty. Its stillness holds the memory of every sound, every breath, every lesson. You lie back in the grass, letting the light wash over you. Above, the sky stretches endless and blue. A single cloud drifts by, shaped almost like a rabbit, soft and luminous. You smile, your eyelids grow heavy again. The warmth, the peace, the quiet, all fold around you like a blanket. You are not falling asleep. You are returning to rhythm, to the calm center within you that has always known how to rest. Somewhere far off, a bird begins to sing. Its song rises gently, greeting the morning. It carries no rush, no urgency, only joy in being alive. You breathe in deeply. The air smells of earth, dew, and sunlight. You exhale slowly, letting go of every thought. The world turns. The day begins. And within you, the stillness remains, glowing softly like a tiny moon, because you've learned the secret. Peace isn't found in escaping movement. It's found in listening closely enough to hear the stillness inside it. Your breath deepens. Your body relaxes. The sun climbs higher, wrapping the world in gentle warmth. The meadow hums quietly. The rhythm continues, timeless, endless, and you drift with it, calm and whole. part of the living balance that cradles every dreamer under the same sky. Epilogue. The gentle truth. Every living thing rests and rises by the same rhythm, the pull of light, the pause of shadow, the hush between heartbeats. In that rhythm lies peace. And when you listen closely enough, you realize it has always been singing to you. Thank you for joining us tonight under the gentle glow of Starlit Discoveries. As the stars whisper above and your dreams begin to bloom, remember, every night is a new beginning in disguise. Breathe softly, rest deeply, and let your heart drift among the constellations. Good night, little dreamers. May your sleep be peaceful, your mind calm, and your spirit bright as starlight.